My fiance called off our wedding because of our financial differences.
It's just too expensive.
Too expensive these days. By the way, this comes from the r/OKstorytime subreddit, one of our very own. So I will be using fake names just for privacy. Also, Kara, with a C, is on Reddit, and I have her permission to share the story just to make sure that I conceal their identities. Last October, my husband, Luke, 35 male, and I, 34 female, got invited to an engagement dinner party of his bestie fiance, Kara, 32 female, and her fiance, Steven, 34 male. By the way, this comes from Hikari Sakura, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit, like this one is from. It's one of our very own. For context, my husband and Kara are best friends, and they both work as ER nurses for 8 years now in the same hospital. She met Steven, he's an EMT and is currently going to nursing school in 2020 during the peak of the pandemic, and they started dating just a few months after meeting. We're very happy for both of them, and we both think she finally found someone who matches her quirky and fun attitude. We even helped Steven plan the proposal during a camping trip we both helped organize. As uncomfortable as I am to discuss this will be important to address. Kara has her own apartment now, but she remains really close to her family who live in a very affluent Newport Beach neighborhood.
Ooh.
Very fancy. Her mom is a nurse practitioner and her dad is a cosmetic surgeon. Her older twin sisters are corporate lawyers. Dude, twin sister corporate lawyers?
Crazy. Do they work together?
That would be wild.
Like Johnson and Johnson. We're not the same person.
We're different.
We're different.
But
we'll fight for you the same.
Twin sister corporate lawyers sounds like a TV show, a fake TV show inside of a real TV show.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, I know exactly that. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Kara herself will be enrolling in the nurse practitioner program, and we even spoke about probably doing it together in the future when I graduate from nursing this year. Needless to say, Kara came from a family of high achievers and shmoney, but despite all of that, she and her family remain humble and down to earth. These details are important to note. Steven, on the other hand, grew up with 6 other siblings and a single mother who had to work multiple jobs to get by and had to take a student loan for education like the most of us, unlike Kara, who graduated without any student loan and got gifted with a luxury car as a graduation gift.
Ooh, boy.
Very
She's got
fancy.
money.
Big shmoney. Let me be clear. There is nothing wrong with how Steven lived, as he is like most of us. Also, nothing wrong with how Kara grew up. They are both kind people, and I thought that they would make a very good couple.
You thought wrong.
Thought? I caught that, OP. Going back to the engagement party that was held at Kara's family home, everyone was so happy to see them together. Steven's family came by, and they met Kara's family, who treated them like they were family already. Kara's mom and I are both introverts, so we went ahead and sat by the pool where we spoke about life. They attended my own wedding years ago, and how happy we are that her daughter is finally settling down with a man who they think will love her dearly and sincerely.
I do want to say I was really worried that this was going to be about OP, like someone leaving OP.
Yes.
Because it's one of our own. And I was like, oh no, but it's not. I mean,
not.
Obviously, it's still about someone you care about, but
Yes.
at least it's not.
We're
you.
glad your relationship is safe,
Yes.
OP. And just like that, the wedding planning began.
Ooh.
Save the date was June 28th.
Dude, that's the day before my birthday.
Yes.
Wait, that's this month?
That's this month.
That's this month.
It hasn't even happened
It hasn't even happened yet. It's one day before my birthday.
We are talking about the future. One day pre-Sophia birthday future, that is. Now, fast forward to last Saturday when Luke received a phone call from Kara whilst crying. Who's Luke again?
That's a good question.
Yes.
And one I don't know the answer to.
Let's use this.
Who's Luke?
I have a feeling like this might have been the first time he was mentioned and just like plopped in there.
Sophia says you're cancer.
Oh, Luke is the husband of the narrator in the story who is a 35-year-old.
Okay, there we go.
Dingus bot.
Oh, there we go. Killing it, Dingus.
I think that's the first time I've seen it work. Let's go.
I've seen it work a couple times.
There we go.
But I am
All
proud
right.
of it nonetheless.
That was so helpful. Shout out Dingus bot. She asked if she could come to our home and talk to us. Luke, Opie's husband, is on medical leave after an appendectomy, so they haven't seen each other in a week. I heard her distressed voice, so I asked if she wanted me to pick her up from her apartment, and she said okay. I drove over to her apartment and saw her with her hair all unkempt and her face was swollen from crying. She immediately hugged me and cried all over again.
No.
I have a sense something might be wrong. I sat her down on the couch and grabbed a glass of water for her to drink. As soon as she calmed down a little bit, she started telling me that no wedding was going to happen. I was shocked and asked what happened. And she said she just wants to have someone to talk to. So I told her that she can stay in our spare room for as long as she wants. I can't leave Luke, who's recovering from surgery, so she has to move in with us. And she said, okay. I helped pack up some of her clothes and necessities, and I drove her to our home and had her settle in our guest room. There, she told us she needed to sleep first and she'll eventually talk to us. We didn't force her, but we did tell her that she can talk to us at any time she's ready, and she thanked us. She slept for a few hours, and Luke and I were concerned. I mean, I would be too. It's like, hey, I'm canceling the wedding. I don't want to live here. And so she's just like at your place now, just like sleeping. And of course, it's like, if she's distressed, like, hey, take your time. But I'd be like, man, what is going on? Like, I'd be talking to my partner like,
yeah.
Huh? But we let her rest for now as she looked like she needed it badly. We tried calling Steven, but he wasn't picking up, and we were getting concerned if he was okay or whatever. When she woke up, I offered her some toiletries so she could shower and freshen up. I also ordered her favorite food so we could all eat together. OP's
thinking 10 steps ahead.
10 steps ahead, clutch friend, and obviously part of the community. We already knew OP was going to be amazing.
So true.
It was after we ate when she told us what happened. Steven and Kara did break up, and the wedding got canceled.
Oof.
She told us that ever since the engagement party, Steven had been acting very insecure towards her family, but she never spoke about it to anyone, thinking it would just drive him further away.
Ooh. And comes from a really, really wealthy family, and he does not.
Right. It's
super tough because in either direction, money can be very divisive.
Yeah.
Because you can have families who are very rich and look down upon a person who has lower income background.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the other side, you have people that can never get over that kind of, not necessarily jealousy, but othering. They're like, I am never going to be that. I never had that.
Yeah.
I'll never understand you or your life.
It could also be the classic male, oh, I'm not they're wealthier than me. I'm not
inadequacy.
The big family breadwinner or whatever. And then that insecurity just drives them to be dumbos. Plus, the stress of the wedding planning was also overwhelming her. Her family offered to pay for all of the wedding expenses, but she said she didn't want them to take full financial responsibility. So they settled that her parents and siblings would pay 50% of the expenses, while Kara and Steven would take care of the other half. Apparently, this made Steven feel awful and said that she made him feel inadequate.
Exactly what I said.
Mm-hmm. Like he can't provide her with the wedding she wanted. When asked how she could make it right, he just said nothing could be done anymore because it's already a fact that he grew up in poverty while she came from money.
He said that.
He said that.
Dude, why are you letting your pride and your I don't know, jealousy get in the way of this clearly good relationship?
Yeah. Also, you got a wedding for half off, my guy.
Why? I really don't understand. I understand why people don't want to take handouts and stuff, but
yes.
I don't know. You're really you're allowed to say, hey, I don't want to fully take all of this. You can say no. Don't break up over it.
Yeah.
Maybe your thing is, hey, I don't feel super comfortable accepting that much money. Let's have a smaller wedding.
Yeah,
and then you work at a compromise. Maybe it's her saying, you know what, I would love to have some of my family members come and they're willing to chip in to have that.
Yeah.
Compromise. It doesn't have to be the end, but he's so he's got all of this machismo attitude about oh, I have to be the man.
And you know what, too? He's probably I can't downsize the wedding because she grew up in all this crazy stuff and now she has to have the biggest thing ever and da-da-da. Yeah, if you at least, I don't know what it is about weddings where people are oh, there's no middle ground. This has to be the way it is.
Exactly.
We read a story recently where they were hosting their wedding in Dubai and they're oh, this is the quote unquote, mandatory hotel to stay at.
Mm-hmm.
And it was $4,000 and the parents were hey, we can't make it. So oh, the parents aren't coming to the wedding. It's dude, let them stay in a different hotel. Literally, if you had just done that, I mean, forget even moving locations, which also could have been smart. Just let them stay at a cheap hotel they can afford, and boom, they can come to the wedding and it's not an issue.
Yeah. No, he literally could have just talked to her. He's just assuming. He's assuming that she wants the wedding exactly this way and is not willing to compromise without asking.
Not cool, dude.
Yeah.
Kara's dad also politely offered to pay off his nursing tuition and the loans he made since he's already part of the family. And he wants them to start their married life with less stress, but he nicely declined, saying that since he's working, it wasn't an issue. Which is fine.
You're allowed to say no.
Yeah, totally. But while the whole conversation was polite, it made Steven feel like he was useless.
That's like a therapy thing.
Yes.
Like, unless they are actually being rude, saying like, oh, like we look down at you because you have this background and because you make less money.
Yeah.
Then you are creating these problems in your mind, which obviously maybe you have like some, upbringing that like has created these mental issues.
Yeah.
Problems that you're creating in your mind.
Yeah.
But that's what therapy's for.
Yes.
Don't put that on your partner.
And yeah, maybe the upbringing kind of was kind of what grew some of these problems, but it is which is, you didn't ask to grow up the way you did, but it is ultimately our responsibility to work on those things. So many other stories to mention, but it all ended with Steven becoming more and more insecure to a point that he started developing resentment towards Kara and her family. It also didn't help that Steven's coworkers were teasing him during their party that he's so lucky that he found his ultimate meal ticket with Kara's family, that he won't have to worry about anything once the marriage contract is filed.
Which then you realize, oh, these people around me who are saying this are not my friends.
Yes.
They are making fun of me.
Yes.
They are not people I want to have in my life anymore. Not like, oh, they're right. I have to leave Kara.
Yeah, right. Do you want to keep the friends who are like belittling you and making jokes about your life? Or do you want to stay with the woman you decided to spend your life with?
Yeah.
You're marrying your stupid friends.
Yep.
They kept telling him that he's such a lucky guy with a rags to riches story.
Wow. His friends suck.
Come on, man. From Kara's side of the story, all these engagement and wedding plan events made Steven spiral down into a deep depression, basically being mentally dragged down by his own insecurities. I felt so bad for Kara and her family, who really didn't look down on him and his family in any way, but also felt horrible for Steven because in a way, I do understand how he felt. The final straw was the night before. Steven came over to her apartment and they started discussing their honeymoon. Steven said that he couldn't afford to pay his share of the honeymoon expenses just yet because he had to help his family financially right now. She responded by saying that she could pay for it now and he could pay her once he's capable of doing so. Steven apparently just went silent, went to the bathroom for a few minutes, and told her that he couldn't marry her and that she should date someone who was rich as well.
Literally could have just had a conversation with her and said, hey, I don't feel super comfortable with people, not in art, like that are not you.
Yeah.
Paying for everything. I want to feel a sense of independence.
Yeah.
And so instead of, paying for this super expensive thing, could we instead pay for something a little bit more manageable?
Yeah.
Like that he could have said that. That would have been fine.
Yeah.
Like she is operating from the perspective of like it's just money. I love you. What's the problem? And
Let's
he's
enjoy
operating
things.
from the perspective of like, I did not grow up with a lot. I've had to work to get where I am, and it means a lot when someone offers to pay something. Like that is a big deal.
Yeah.
Both are fine perspectives. Both take a little communication,
Yes.
which maybe you shouldn't get married if you can't communicate.
Yeah. I mean, again, at the end of the day, if you have such a huge misalignment to the point where someone says, we shouldn't marry each other because you should date someone who's rich.
Come on.
What are we going to do from there? Hard to fix. Kara panicked and apologized profusely, but he said that he wouldn't be able to tolerate the fact that people would overlook his own efforts because of Kara's opulence. He said he'd tell his family and friends, and she'd be responsible for telling hers, and just walked out.
Wow.
She cried all night and hasn't told anyone but us. After hearing her out, she asked to be left alone in the room so she could make the necessary phone calls and emails. Luke and I offered to help in any way we could, but she thanked us, telling us that this is something that she has to do alone. Luke is upset about this and kept trying to call Steven, but he kept rejecting his call. It's been days since this has happened. Kara moved in with her parents for the meantime, and Steven finally called Luke. The whole conversation went so heated that I had to calm Luke down as he was getting upset and started clutching his wound. They stopped talking when Steven hung up. Luke told me that Steven did confirm what Kara told us, and that he, a poor chud, his words not mine, doesn't deserve someone like Kara. He called Steven a coward and an a-hole, and then the call ended. The cancellation emails have been sent to everyone invited and the reservations made, and Kara will be going to the Kauai honeymoon with her family instead. Bless them for being so supportive during these dark times. They won't be getting their full refund of the deposits on the canceled services. Oh man, the canceled weddings, it's just like, it's so expensive, and then you only get a portion, if that, sometimes.
No, and it seems like this is probably if it's due now, this is probably pretty recent.
Yes. The wedding was going to be the day before your birthday.
The day before my birthday.
Kara's family didn't care, and they just want to get over it. Her wedding dress is already paid for, so she plans on donating it to another bride who can't afford to buy a dress.
That's really lovely.
I like that.
See, that's, I think that's another point showing that she is really, she knows she has a lot of money.
Yes.
And she knows that she has a responsibility.
Yes.
Because of that.
It can be done. I think Kara's family is an example of it being done well. Again, like the dad saw he was stressed with the loans. He's like, hey, if you want, I would love to pay it off. And then Steven politely declined, and it seemed he was like, oh yeah, no problem.
No, I've known a lot, like, some people, like close friends or family friends who are like very wealthy, and some have been like very generous.
Yeah. Like
lovely people. Like you wouldn't even know, that they have this wealth.
Yeah.
And then you have some people who are like, I have a lot of wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to know it, and I'm not going to share any of it.
And you know it.
And that's not these people.
That's not.
And it's not these people. So I'm like, Steven does not have anything to stand on.
Absolutely. If you want to stand on the rock solid foundation of over 2,000 episodes of our show by listening to them, you can go to Spotify, Apple, iHeart, and search OK Storytime and binge our entire catalog to your heart's delight. But ladies and gentlemen, we are almost at the end of the story here. We actually do have a decent chunk left before we finish. I have a question for you.
And I have an answer.
Specifically on Luke's phone call to Steven.
Yeah.
What do you think of Luke's approach in talking with Steven?
Well, it seems like he was just trying to like talk to him, and then he learned what happened.
Yeah.
I don't think it was necessarily bad. I think that probably was kind of the only way he could have talked to Steven, because Steven probably didn't want to meet up with him.
Yeah. No, I mean like about what was said, or like not the phone call happening itself. I don't know
much of what was said, other than like he got the information and then he said that he was a coward afterwards.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like trying to think. I'm like, I don't know really what they said.
Because I was like trying to think. Basically, I was like, was it a little too much to like call him a coward and an a-hole?
I don't know if he said that to. Well, he might have.
I think he said that to Steven on the phone.
I know that he called him a coward and a-hole to OP.
He called Steven. Luke told me that Steven did confirm. Okay, yeah, maybe he did.
He might have. I mean, there's a good chance that he did.
It's confusing whether it was on the call or when he was telling OP about the call and saying. Yeah,
I mean, sure, maybe not like the best way to go about it, but also if he did do that. But also, I totally understand. He's probably feeling very protective about this.
Very frustrated.
Yeah, frustrated about like this man who's thrown away great stuff in his life.
Yes.
Great relationship.
Absolutely.
There is a comment from Rini. Could you scroll up a little bit? Rini says, I really don't think this is ego. I think this is growing up poor and not being able to handle people being flippant about money. Working so hard to pull himself out and no one recognizing it. I think that is an explanation for, but I do think it is ego and pride. I think that when you've had to work yourself up, you have this pride in how much effort you've done, you put in to get money and have like a stable life, that you don't want to accept any handouts and you become very independent. It's very much like on a broader scale, it's very much like the American mindset of like independence. I don't want no government handouts, whereas you see other cultures where like familial government a lot more involved.
Yeah.
And on a micro scale, that's what Steven's doing. He's like, I had to work so hard for this. I can't believe that they would insult me, insult my pride to even say that they would just like pay for all of this, as if my money doesn't matter, as if my hard work doesn't matter, which is not what they're saying, but is what he's hearing.
Yeah. And like the bottom line is that is coming out in a very, very negative fashion in the relationship.
Yeah.
Where he's, bringing all this negativity to, and then ultimately calling off the wedding.
Yeah. Which like definition is ego.
Yeah.
Because he's thinking about himself.
Yes.
And, how it affects, he's placing his own meaning on the actions of others.
Yes, this is true. And we have a little bit left of the story. Let's dive in. Luke said she's taking an indefinite leave and their supervisor, who is supposed to officiate the wedding, helped her with that. Kara asked us if we could come as well, so now we're making arrangements to make that happen, since we could use some time to relax too and be there for her, as she has been with us when we needed her. I just wish that both Kara and Steven will find love and peace. The whole event is the definition of sometimes love just ain't enough, and it's so sad to think about. We do have some relevant comments. One from Chloe Roses. It is sad. Some guys would like their future father-in-law to pay for expenses like their school debt, and others apparently not. The only odd thing to me is traditionally the parents of the bride are supposed to pay for the wedding and the bride and the groom and the honeymoon. So this 50-50 thing with parents for wedding expenses seems silly given their means. Dude, like, let her parents give her a nice wedding, focus on paying for the ring and honeymoon. No shame in that. I think Steven is struggling with the question, why does this amazing woman want me in her life? He clearly doesn't feel good enough for her. I think it's just sad he threw it all away. Well, it was better for him to do it now than wait and get married, only to divorce her in a few years' time. Hope Kara and he find their perfect matches and wish both of them the best. Yeah, again, like, I think it's okay for Steven to feel like, man, like I feel bad about not being able to provide in a way or give you this gift. He's like, maybe he's like, I could see where it's like, hey, this is a gift I would like to give you. But again, he goes down the rabbit hole of the ego and the insecurity, and then he brings all of that negativity into the relationship without stopping to say, well, wait a second, maybe this is, my own like spiraling of what I feel about these things, and maybe there is a way to, talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And figure it out. Because again, I personally don't think I would totally understand if he's like, hey, I just got to say it like, I am like sad. I feel like defeated maybe. Like I could totally understand that perspective if he felt that way. And there's, I think in expressing that, there's room to work together for them to be able to have a successful relationship.
Agreed. I mean, like, I've been in situations where like I'm hanging out or, talking to people who have a lot more money than me or grew up with a lot more money. And there is like can be a cognitive dissonance in how you spend money. And it can be a little bit frustrating to talk to people when they're like, oh, well, just buy that. Or I don't know, you just do this. And I'm like, well, no.
Yeah.
Because I have a different relationship to money than that.
Yes.
And I can totally understand where Steven's coming from to trying to have conversations with his wife or a fiance, and then her being like, well, you just buy it. And he's like, no. But that does not mean that you can't compromise and have conversations and reach like an agreement that, is not just ending the relationship.
And that's a good point to bring up, because it seems, just reading in between the lines, they never fully got the understanding of each other's perspective, where it's like the family kind of kept offering in a nice way, it seems, but maybe they never got the connection of like, oh, hey, maybe this is, because our perception is, oh, just pay for it, it's fine. Like the wedding dress and everything, they're like, oh, we don't care about the money, we just want you to feel better, right? Which is great in many ways, but again, to Steven's perspective, it's like, well, exactly. And I 100% understand. Yes.
But again,
It can't come to this.
no.
It-
It
that's-
could
that's
if
where it gets
he
bad.
had the conversation and you still didn't listen,
Yes.
different story.
Totally different.
That's
story.
not what happened here.
But we're in this story.
We're in this story and he didn't communicate at all.
And we have comment number 2 from Rosalie83. And this is just another example of toxic masculinity. Instead of working on his own insecurities about their different financial upbringings, he made it her fault. But look at the friends he surrounded himself with. Kara, I know it hurts like heck now, but he did you a favor. He wasn't strong enough to be your partner. Your family's financial advantages shouldn't be a burden to your partner. He should have been happy for you, respecting it and them, and working hard in his own chosen career, knowing you chose him for him as your equal partner and not what he can provide for you as you can provide for yourself. Hugs. And that is it.
Hugs.
Hugs. That is how we're closing this bad boy out.
Yeah. Man. Didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, to that last comment, the good news here is that they did discover this now, and there's just a clear misalignment. Imagine they had already gotten married.
Oh my goodness. The financial stuff would have been even more of a problem because
So
they
much
probably
worse.
would have wanted to pay for the kids. And then he would have been like, oh, the man of this house.
Yeah. So better it happened, sucks that it was right before the wedding,
Yeah.
but you know what? Way better that it happened before the wedding than any time after.
Mhm.
Any time after.
Yeah.
So there we go.
But that's the end of that story, folks.
That's
So
right.
we're going to get into the next one.
Let's get it.
I asked my boyfriend's friend to move out. It sent our relationship spiraling down. For background, I am a 27-year-old woman, my boyfriend 28 male, and I have lived together in our 2-bedroom house for about 2 years now. We live in a suburb outside a city in the US.
Niche city.
Niche. By the way, this comes from Throwaway. Hello, Reddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. So, we met about 4.5 years ago when working at the same place and have been together for coming up on 4 years. That makes sense because you met. Yep. Okay.
We met 4 years ago, and we have been together 4 years for 4 years.
We had planned to get married last summer, 4 years after they met,
Oh.
but I had to cancel it due to the vid. We both have parents who have health conditions and wanted them to attend. We are both waiting for the vaccine to get more available to have our wedding, since a wedding is something we both want. My boyfriend has a friend who I'll call Bill, 28 male. Bill and my boyfriend have been friends since childhood and attended school together. As children, Bill and my boyfriend were very close and did many things together. As I understand it, Bill's family was pretty dysfunctional, so my boyfriend and his parents, late 50s male and female, provided a lot of stability for him. Bill didn't go to college, and my boyfriend did, but they remain good friends as we all live in the same area. The entire time I've been with my boyfriend, he and Bill have been close, and I've gotten to know Bill. Before the vid, we would often go on double dates with Bill and Bill's girlfriend. This will become relevant later. But Bill's always had many girlfriends with the relationships, never lasting very long. My boyfriend has implied to me that this stems from commitment issues from his childhood. But as someone who isn't by any means a psychologist, I can't speak to this. What is commitment issues from his childhood? Like his parents?
Hey, son, I'll take you to the football game later.
And he never came.
No football.
My dad has that.
Oh.
Oh.
You want to go to a football game, Riley?
My dad, not me.
Do you want to play catch, Riley?
I said, I'm good. He took care of me. His dad?
Oh, okay. I'll go ask your dad if he wants to go to a football
There we go.
game. I've always liked, well, you know what? Generational trauma. So maybe you feel the pain of your dad.
No, my dad was Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and then he treated me how Dr. Doofenshmirtz treats his daughter.
No, I'm just saying, like, maybe you have the memories.
I played catch with him.
Never mind. Never mind. I've always liked Bill. He's friendly, kind, and funny. He's always been a great friend to my boyfriend, and I've gotten to the point where I consider him a friend, albeit not as close as him and my boyfriend. In May 2020, Bill lost his job and was unable to pay his rent. At the time, he didn't have a partner, again, no stable girlfriends, and had no family to rely on. My boyfriend offered for him to stay with us. He asked me first, and I said I was happy to help Bill out until he got on his feet again, assuming it was temporary. At this point, Bill has been living with us since May, and to put it bluntly, I'm getting tired of it. In August, he was able to find a new job that, while I don't know the details of, pays comparably to his last one.
Okay.
In response, he's helped with utility bills and with the groceries, but made no move to move out.
Aha.
We've got...
Scott Pilgrim.
I haven't seen that movie.
I have.
Am I right?
But wait, what's...
Scott Pilgrim lives with his gay roommate, and his gay roommate's like, "You're gonna have to move out," because he's having dudes over all the time.
That's right. Now I
Yeah.
remember. I forgot.
I like Bill, and he's a good guest, but I feel like it's time for him to find his own place. Our house is very small, so it feels like I'm never alone with my boyfriend. It's always me, my boyfriend, and Bill.
Good old Bill.
This is amplified because we are all in an area that has a lot of the vid cases, so we're all working from home and quarantining for the most part. I forgot this was during the vid. This accentuates the problem tenfold.
Yeah.
Ooh, not only are you oh wow, you're stuck with your boyfriend, which, can put strain, but you're stuck with your boyfriend and Bill.
And Bill.
In our county, many things are closed. So it's not even like my boyfriend and I can go on a date alone to a restaurant or something because of the vid. Around New Year's, I brought up to my boyfriend Bill finding his own place. Well, Bill wasn't present. While my boyfriend wasn't mad at me, he explained that he feels like we need to be there for Bill in his time of need. When I pointed out that Bill has a job and is much more financially stable now, my boyfriend said that Bill would be lonely if he moved into an apartment by himself now because of the pandemic.
That sounds like a Bill problem.
Furthermore, my boyfriend said that Bill was there for him when his brother, my boyfriend's brother that is, passed away in a tragic accident when they were all teenagers. Because of that, he says that he should be there for Bill now. That doesn't mean that you get to force OP to also have to be there for Bill.
And that's the thing.
He also said that he considers Bill a brother and is happy to do whatever for him. He brought up how my sister, 30 female, stayed with us for a month in the past when she was trying to get out of a harmful relationship. Month versus how long Bill stayed.
Undefined time.
Undefined time, probably more than a month.
I think it was, he got the job in August, I think it was May to August so far in the story.
We've had a couple months.
We've had a couple months.
At least. Coming out of the talk, I guess I've been confused. I go back and forth between feeling like I'm being irrational to want Bill out of our house and feeling like it's justified. Maybe I'm being too harsh about the whole situation. I don't know. From our talk, it doesn't seem like my boyfriend minds Bill living with us at all. I suppose I don't know where to go from here. Should I just let it all be and assume Bill will move out when he's ready? Should I talk to my boyfriend again? Should I bring it up with Bill? I'm considering doing this, but was worried it would be inhospitable and not my place as he's much closer with my boyfriend. Anyway, thank you for any advice you can give. And there are some comments and an update, but do you have any advice that you can give?
Well, just to +1 your brilliant comment from earlier.
Thanks.
Just because OP's boyfriend wants to, let Bill do whatever, stay living the place, now that this is also OP's living space, he cannot force and encroach what he wants upon her.
No. And it also seems like OP was operating under the idea that this wouldn't happen. It wouldn't go on for so long.
Yeah, like it would be a 1 month or, not a indefinite thing. And also too, it also would have been fair if OP was like, hey, happy to have him in, no worries, no problems. And then when it happened, she's like, I know I said that, but the reality of living it, and the everything shut down, I would honestly like to have my space back. That's also
fair.
Okay.
She's also not saying kick him out right now. She's saying, hey, can we talk to him about starting to make, begin the process of moving out, finding a place.
Yes. Make a plan.
That's a very fair request.
Yeah. So I think OP maybe could say that to the boyfriend. It's like, hey, listen, if it was him and you, I totally get it, totally understand. But Kelsey Hoff also says secret lovers, that's what we are. Yeah. Conspiracy theory. It could be true. It could be true.
Amy Lynn says, I don't think OP is the a-hole for feeling how she does. And also, it was hard to find new lodging during the vid. Which, totally fair if, he literally can't find anything. I don't think he's looking, though. And so I think her request is that he start looking.
Yeah.
She's not saying, I'm going to kick him out right now, even if he doesn't have a place. Comment 1, your boyfriend isn't being fair, comparing a single month for your sister with the 8 months of Bill.
Oh, that's a lot of Bill.
That's a whole lot of Bill.
That's a whole lot of Bill.
Hardly on the same scale. If the only reason is he'll be lonely, it's not as if you want him removed from your lives completely or are banning him from visiting. Does he really have no other friends or relatives to talk to? Does he not have a phone? OP says, right, that's exactly what I thought. And yes, I'm happy with Bill being in our lives. I just don't want him literally living with us.
Illegal.
As for relatives, from what I understand, Bill's parents were addicts. His mother passed a few years ago, boyfriend went to funeral, and he's not in contact with his father. He has a half-brother who lives in another state he talks with occasionally. He considers boyfriend's family his family and lived with them at various times as a kid, though to my knowledge, there was no formal arrangement. Most holidays, he comes to boyfriend's parents with us. They have other friends and a friend group that consists mostly of boyfriend's college friends. Pre the vid, they would all go out drinking. I don't believe he's very close with any of them, though, just my boyfriend. Comment 2. I get it. Having your girlfriend and best friend living with you during the vid is the best of both worlds. It is probably very comforting to him. But this isn't college. Bill has a job. It's time for him to go and live as a couple again. I would bring up with boyfriend again and also ask Bill what his timeline might be. Comment 3 says your boyfriend does not mind Bill living there. His statement about Bill being lonely says all you need to know. You're in a trouble or in trouble.
Oh.
And finally, looking up. This has been going on since Bill was dating. They set the scene and it has continued until you realize you didn't sign up for a roommate. Bill has been there almost a year. You need an exact move out date. Is he paying bills? Are they split 3 ways? It sounds like you might need an ultimatum. It doesn't sound like your boyfriend will ask him to leave. Move out date for Bill or leave. And there is an update.
I mean, I think we could. Wait, were they saying an ultimatum on like Bill moving out or like ultimatum like, hey, boyfriend, if you don't make Bill get out, I'm leaving the relationship?
I don't know, because the way it sounded to me was that could be very well what they're saying.
Yeah.
I think also a solution that's still dramatic, but maybe a step down from that is just moving out.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there's
I feel like there are many steps before that we could take before we get to that.
Even just going to the boyfriend and without attaching this like
Ultimatum.
dire consequence or ultimatum in their relationship, being like, hey,
I'm no longer comfortable with this.
I want to go to Bob and say, hey, let's, I don't know, give you like another 30 days or whatever the situation is, right?
Yeah.
Let's have his plan and let's go tell him so that way there's a clear date. Let's do this. Yes. And then see what happens.
And maybe also you can include Bill in that conversation and say, hey guys, I wanted to talk to you. Like, I really have loved having you, Bill.
Like, you're great.
Here. Like,
Love Bill.
This is not against you or our friendship or anything. I just, didn't sign up to have a third roommate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm kind of having that happen right now. There's this new roommate that like to walk on all fours. Kind of always stays in Kristen's room. And it's nice when he's around, but I'd like to know when he's coming around too,
And sometimes he like goes in your room and like sleeps on your bed.
Yeah. And then also, like, I'll have food and he's always nosy and he's trying to have some. I'm like, dude, get your own food. Make your own food.
It's blondes. Blondes are always like
his
that.
Hair everywhere.
Yeah.
There's an update though. I took advice from some of the commenters and decided I was going to talk to both my boyfriend and Bill about Bill moving out. On Tuesday morning, when my boyfriend was out jogging, I asked Bill when he thought he was going to get his own place. Just
a little, let's see it.
I tried to be casual and not judgmental about it. Bill responded in stride, apologizing for staying with us for so long and saying that he had been looking for an apartment. I took this as a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
On Wednesday, my boyfriend...
Smells fishy.
Oh,
but I've been looking this whole time.
has he really?
Then why haven't you got it? Where's the urgency?
Pick up the bill, Bill.
On Wednesday, my boyfriend had a big presentation at work. It was virtual. Bring it up with him on Thursday after dinner. Bill was in his bedroom and my boyfriend and I were watching TV in the living room. I told my boyfriend that I had talked to Bill about moving out, and it sounded like he'd been planning to do so soon. I honestly assumed that if he was truly planning to move out, he would have already told my boyfriend as they're close. Boyfriend was immediately unhappy and told me that I shouldn't have told Bill that I wanted him to move out, which wasn't even what I said, because it probably made him feel bad. Yeah, OP literally just said, oh, like, how's the apartment hunt going?
Yeah.
I told him that Bill didn't seem fazed by it, but my boyfriend said that I don't know Bill well enough to tell. He's been living with Bill for 8 months. He then started talking about how Bill has mental health issues such as depression and anxiety, and living with us was helping him get over them. This is the first I've ever heard of any of this, though obviously I don't know everything about Bill, and he could very well have these issues. I was starting to get upset by this point and told him that it was too bad if Bill had these issues, but they weren't our problem, and that Bill was still intruding on our home and relationship. We started fighting to the point I was nearly crying.
Oh.
Sounds like a loud conversation.
Yeah, that Bill.
This is a small house.
Yeah.
At this point, Bill came out of his bedroom. Our house is a 1-story, so everything is close together. He must have heard us. Yeah, you guys were fighting loudly in the living room. And said he was leaving if it was causing so much stress. My boyfriend tried to stop him, but he left in his car, though all his stuff was still at our place. After that, my boyfriend and I exchanged a few words, and I finally told him that I didn't want to fight that night when we were both tired and emotional. I was going to stay the night at my sister's, 30 female. I took my laptop for work and a change of clothes and went to the apartment my sister lives in about 15 minutes away with her daughter, 8 female. Yes, I know this sounds a bit hypocritical, but I was only planning on staying at my sister's for the night, not months. I worked online from sisters today during the day. Boyfriend did not call me, and I did not call him. When I got out of work at 3, I drove back to my house to try and talk with my boyfriend. He wasn't there, and neither was Bill.
Oh, are they
on
together?
A vacation.
Oh, God.
This is odd, as both work remotely during the day and usually work until 4 or 5. All their stuff is still here, so obviously Bill hasn't moved out. I've tried calling
More
both
like
of them.
6 to 9.
Oh. I've tried calling both of them and they didn't pick up. I fed our cat and am just kind of sitting here waiting for them to call me back. I don't really know what to do. On another note, I've gotten several calls from boyfriend's mother, 56 female, during the day. I didn't pick up, mainly because I was working, and also I really didn't want her involved in everything that was going on. Yeah, a huge red flag that he seemingly involved his mother before actually having a conversation with her, to the point where she's calling OP.
Yeah, he's like, Mom, my girlfriend's doing all these things, and
she won't let me hang out with Bill.
I like hanging out with Bill, and like I want to like live him with us for forever. I want to get married and have kids with Bill there.
She won't let me.
Mom.
For reference, boyfriend's mother and I are not particularly close. We talk on holidays and family get-togethers. Not really happening now because of the vid and what she calls our home to talk to my boyfriend, but not much outside of that. While she's always been nice to me to my face, I know she disapproves of us living together before marriage as she's very religious. She has also had disagreements with my boyfriend about us not going to church frequently, but these have largely ended due to the vid. Needless to say, she doesn't really call me regularly, so I think her calls are probably about this situation, but I honestly have no clue what she could possibly have to say about it. I'm also confused as to why my boyfriend would even involve her, as they aren't really close. He talks to her regularly, but more out of obligation. I'm not sure if maybe he or Bill are at her place. I don't know. I guess I'm asking for advice. My sister thinks I should break out with my boyfriend. I'm not sure. We planned and built a life together. We have been planning a wedding.
Oh.
If it weren't for the vid, we'd already been married, which, yeah, they said at the beginning of the story.
It's true. I totally forgot.
I love him. On the other hand, I feel slighted and unimportant. It's Valentine's Day weekend, and he's not even here and is off who knows where.
Spinning it with Bill.
Spinning on it on Bill.
Ew. I'm just so confused and feel like I don't even understand what's going on anymore. How could Bill be more important than me? I don't get it. Any input would be appreciated. I feel like I need an outside perspective. I'm sorry if this doesn't make sense. I'm pretty upset and emotional. And edit to add, he's my fiance. He should be my husband by now, as we're going to be married last summer, but due to the vid, we weren't. And there is a second update, folks, but I want thoughts.
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead, Riley.
We got to test our fiance's integrity with a camera by setting it up in the house to see what Bill and him get into.
This is the opposite of all the advice we've ever given. Testing cameras, filming.
No. It's just Yeah, testing the integrity.
No,
It's just exactly
it's just
that.
a test.
Yeah.
And cameras.
It's seeing the stress, how much of the stress can the relationship hold on to with a certain amount of integrity.
I disagree with this point. I do not condone this. John, do you have any advice that's maybe better?
I think that OP should go to the. I feel like
Go to the store and buy a camera. Yes.
we need to explain to boyfriend, like, hey, do you understand how you like bringing Bill in and kind of like stonewalling me, like wanting him to not live there, it impedes upon like my like, you know, freedoms and the way I want to be able to live and like not have to share everything. Cause like he's getting mad at her, but it's like, hey, like I've put up with this and this is my space too. Like it's both of our spaces. And it's like, I have no say anytime I suggest we don't have Bill here because that's not what I personally prefer, which is fine. You just get mad and shut it down.
Yep.
Gets all crazy. I think I really need to like hammer that home and be like, and if he doesn't see that, bad.
Not good.
Here we go.
Round 2.
Gaycation.
Gaycation.
You put a flyer for the gaycation for Bill and Phil, and you see what they think. And if they start saying, "Hey, we're going to be taking a trip to where do they go? Isbala?
Ibiza.
Ibiza?
Ibiza.
Ibiza?
Ibiza.
You already know.
What is the gaycation? Can
Dude, so basically, John, it's where straight men can go to Ibiza for a week and indulge in with other men, but whatever happens in Ibiza on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. So you can go there, you must submit or be destroyed.
Yeah.
And you can't
this
resist
is
the
word for word.
you must
I
submit
see.
That's
mind,
the beauty
body, and
of the
soul
gaycation.
to these men, and you're with these men, but when you come back, none of it was gay, and it passes. Not cheating at all.
It's not cheating.
Okay, so wow. So
This was the argument made in this story.
No, that's the beauty of the gaycation.
It's the beauty of the gaycation.
so this
Whatever happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation.
this isn't like go to a gay bar and get a free drink
No.
and feel pretty as a boy. This is that.
Yeah. And you are straight there, and when you come back,
Wow.
you're not gay at all.
It's the beauty of the gaycation.
Yeah, but some people get like mind warped and they stay there forever, and they're gay forever and they never come back.
Yeah, because they've been brainwashed.
Brainwashed.
Should definitely check out that live stream if you haven't, everyone. It was phenomenal.
But there is an update.
Oh.
Edit. Just talked to my boyfriend's mother. Apparently, my boyfriend called Thursday night and said he was going up to their cabin this weekend. It's about an hour away.
With who?
With Bill.
Uh-oh.
Couldn't get a hold of either of them and was calling me to see if I could because she wanted to remind them of how to take care of the cabin. I assume they're up there. On Valentine's Day weekend?
I mean, I have to say, Riley's theory is looking stronger
Looking
by
strong.
the second.
It is looking strong.
I have to say.
Looking hard, right?
Oh, God.
The service is sketchy there, so that might be why I can't get a hold of them either. Edit 2. Hi guys, this really blew up. Thank you for all your comments and support. I appreciate it so much. I will try and respond. Still can't get in contact with my boyfriend. I'm planning on going over to my sister's and talking it over with her. If we still can't get in contact, we might go up to the cabin. I don't know. She doesn't have her daughter this weekend because she's with her ex. Edit 3. Hi guys, some of you asked for an update. I did not go to the cabin in the end. I left a voicemail to my boyfriend saying that I was worried and concerned and to please call me back.
Yeah, because it's been, how many days has it been since they've talked or he's been there?
Too many.
Yeah.
On the urging of my sister, I told him that his mom had told me where he was and that I was worried and would come up if I didn't hear back from him. After that, he did get back to me
Finally.
and we talked briefly. He said he just needed to blow off steam and that's why he went away. He said he would be back Monday and we would talk then. We both have work off for President's Day. He apologized for missing Valentine's Day.
Ooh, oh.
Y'all aren't going to be preparing for a wedding for much longer.
Yeah, this is looking real bad, my guy.
I felt bad, but tried to stay calm because I didn't want to cause a scene. He initially said he was up there alone, but when I pointed out that his mom had said Bill was with him, he agreed that Bill was with him. This kind of made me feel a little weird, but I don't know. I asked if Bill was okay, and he said yes, that he's fine, which is good because after something you guys said, I was worried. I'm sorry I didn't respond last night. I stayed at my sister's with my cat. I saw some of you were worried. I would never leave her alone, and at least not if I knew no one else was home and wanted to get away from everything. Update 3. I just need to keep going because I really need to find out if they went on a gaycation.
Let's see it.
Hey guys, TLDR, we decided to break up.
Gasp.
My now ex-boyfriend came back at around noon with Bill. Bill briefly apologized to me for everything that had happened and then went back to his room. Boyfriend still calling him this to reduce confusion, and I talked in the living room of our house alone without Bill. I started and told him that I was sorry for overreacting on Thursday, but that I felt by running away and lying to me, he breached my trust. I told him that I felt we should break up. Boyfriend agreed with me. He apologized for everything he did, for missing Valentine's Day, for running away all weekend, for everything with Bill. He sounded sincere. He was crying. I asked him why he'd reacted the way he did.
A great question.
You guys who said he was in a relationship with Bill were right. Riley called it from the start. Happy Pride. You can say I told you so, I suppose.
Dude, ain't no way. You on Valentine's Day, you go with the person you're with, okay?
To a cabin.
In the
to
woods.
a cabin in the woods
On Moose
Valentine's Day.
On Moose Mountain.
According to him, he and Bill fooled around. His words, not mine.
Knew it.
As kids, but stopped when boyfriend's brother passed away when they were 17. He said they were not involved since then, but were just close friends. He said that things developed after Bill moved back in with us, but that it was never his intention, and that's not why Bill moved in with us. He claims he did not have spicy sleep with Bill while he was living with us. But that they
okay,
did
that makes me feel
things-
so much better.
Yeah, but that they did things this weekend.
Yeah.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Plus, like,
Well, you know what? I actually do believe that they didn't do anything while they were living together because it would have been really hard to get away with that when they're all stuck together.
What?
During the vid,
No.
where they're all working at home
I mean,
and barely going out. Not that it's impossible.
yeah, harder, but not impossible.
Hey
But
guys, I'm going to the grocery store.
but
You don't need the visual every time.
Some people are visual learners. Okay?
I thought no visual humor, Riley.
Well, for our video watchers, they might need assistance.
There was a sound. I will.
There was a sound.
But to me, so I'm rethinking now all of his behavior before,
Yeah.
right? And he was so viciously, adamantly against Bill moving out. That to me is like, oh, you were in love with Bill and loved living with Bill, and low key living with both of them at the same, like
Mhm.
kind of a really effed thing where you're like, hey, I'm
I
gonna
get my cake and eat it too.
I would get my cake
Yeah.
and eat it too. I'm gonna say I think he's in love probably with Bill, right? They have so much shared history and all this stuff.
And it must have been really hard not to admit that.
Yes. And he's with it's just such an effed scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, boyfriend effed up big time.
Yikes. I don't know if that's true, though I doubt they could have been hooking up a lot because our place was so small and I was usually around. He said that when I confronted Bill about moving out, Bill in turn confronted him about deciding what he wanted. He said he freaked out, that he was confused and scared and overreacted and treated me bad. He said he's not gay or bi and insisted that he was straight, and that was the beauty of the gaycation. And that he loved me. It was an emotional conversation. We were both crying. By the way, you can cry with us. If you listen to full episodes of stories just like this, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. What?
Uh-oh.
Man, you're so far in the closet.
Yeah.
Stop.
Boyfriend needs to understand and figure out what's going on in here. Am I wrong?
No. This is so frustrating. This is so frustrating. In the end, I told him that I was going to move out and that he could stay there. It sounded like Bill was staying too. I'm staying at my sister's now with my kitty, and I'm going to start looking for an apartment. I'm doing okay. I'm still struggling and feel pretty horrible, but I'm starting to realize that it was probably good all this came out before he became my husband. It is good that he came out before he became your husband. Yes.
And then you would have been the beard.
I mean, she kind of already was.
Yeah, like this is literally Brokeback Mountain. They're like, we're not that. We're straight. I love my wife, but I can't quit you.
Oh.
Thank you again for all your help. I keep saying this, but I truly appreciate it. Folks, that's the end of that story.
Wow.
Rini says, well, I truly feel bad for people with religious trauma that prevents them. Good point.
Yes, talk about it.
Prevents them from recognizing who they are. Imparting that trauma on others is never okay. I
Yeah.
totally forgot that his mom is super religious. To the
Yes.
point, she's like, I don't want you guys living together even.
You're go to church more.
Yeah, go to church more. So she's probably pretty religious. So
Yes.
he probably doesn't feel comfortable coming out. Does not mean that he can cheat on his partner.
Yeah.
No, no, no.
Or like and again, he doesn't fully understand his sexual preferences yet, but like if he never was romantically or spicily interested in OP in the first place, now OP has spent all this time in this relationship with this person and built up the expectation, well, oh, I'm going to marry this person. It's like, oh.
I think there's probably a possibility that he totally isn't, like, has been in love with her.
Yes, totally. Very, very possible. Yes.
But has just been like kind of pushing this other feeling of love
Yeah.
and, you know, attraction to Bill and other men down.
Have you guys ever dated someone and then right after they started being with the same sex?
I've only dated one person. But no.
This has also happened to me.
It's happened to me twice. Once in, I think, high school, and then another in 2 years ago.
The sign.
What? I'm doing something wrong? Yeah, but like, what do you do after that? Like, as this girl, what do you do? Like, oh, like, was he ever really attracted to me? Did he ever really love me? You know, like those thoughts would go
Dap
through
him
your
up.
head, right?
Yeah, but I think, you know, you just have to remember that bisexuality exists.
Like, I see you.
Yeah. You're like, cool.
But like, it's during that time, like if like your partner, your ex leaves you and gets with another person immediately after, when you have those same thoughts and feelings?
Sure. But it just depends on the scenario. I mean, like if a person's like openly bi, then you can be like, oh, you know, if they got immediately with another person, maybe they didn't really like respect our relationship. I could be like a thing that you feel.
I just would be pretty hurt because it seems like she's just stunned and taking a step back instead of being hurt.
I mean, I would imagine.
Right?
I would imagine she's hurt, stunned, shocked, and
This was going to be your husband.
yeah.
Oh, I thought we were still talking about you.
No, I'm talking about OP.
Sorry, I was confused. OP, yeah, probably very hurt and stuff. She was cheated on, and also he doesn't even know what he is.
Yes.
He has not even come to like reckon with that.
Yes, come.
Yes. And to clarify my comment from earlier, I wasn't saying for sure that he was not bi. I was saying there could be a possible scenario,
Sure, yes,
potentially, in which that wasn't the case. But
yeah. I mean, he really does. He's been suppressing. There's of course a possibility of that because he literally doesn't know.
it does. It seems the only thing that is at least the clearest of what we do know is that he wants to be with or explore what it looks like to be with Bill at this
Yes.
point.
All right. Well, folks, that's the end of that story and the end of that episode
Aww.
and the end of the stream.
No.
Yes.
Keep going for 8 more hours.
4 hours.
Straight with no breaks.
We can't.
Please.
It's too much.
But, folks, if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you and
And
see you tomorrow.